Mr. Baumgarten here with another Programming with Python video. Welcome to the new subscribers who have joined us on my YouTube channel. Just for some background, I am a computer science high school teacher, and most of the videos I make are made specifically for my students. But if you find anything here useful, welcome on board. I do have a whole bunch of other Python videos that are in my to-do catalog that I want to get to. Things that I've just taught direct to my class and don't have videos for them yet, but eventually. My mouse battery's running low. Anyway, today's video kind of jumps right ahead and is being made specifically for three of my year 8s who I promised that I would have this tutorial for them tomorrow, and it is now 11 PM. So you're not the only ones who leave homework to the last minute. Let's just say that. All right, so we're going to be looking at BeautifulSoup, which is Python's a Python library that is handy for scraping, or what's known as scraping websites, which is to grab the HTML contents of a website and allow you to be able to analyze it and find useful information about it. So to demo today, we'll be using Google News. And so, if you type in news on Google, you'll get a whole bunch of news stories, and it'll be useful for, particularly for the year 8s that I'm making this for your projects to be able to suck useful information out of our website. So, how could we use BeautifulSoup to get, say, the headlines and maybe the links to the headlines of some of the major news stories? So the first thing we're going to need is to start up a new Python file, and we have a couple of libraries that we need. We need to import the requests library. The request library is what will actually go out onto the World Wide Web and pull in a web document for us. And from the BeautifulSoup4 library, we want to import BeautifulSoup. Okay, so if you are doing pip installs, request should already be there. That's by default, and you need to do a pip install of BS4. Okay, so let's start up a very basic Python program. So if we are running in our main, let's load the content of the web page first. And I like putting comments in to explain what my code is doing. So what is the website that I'm going to load? Let's go to Chrome and grab a copy of this. So copy, and let's dump it in here. Paste. I'm going to just use the keyboard shortcuts from now on because that's going to drive me nutty doing that. All right, and let's load the page content, and it's as simple as requests.get. Oops. Get that web address. And so if I now print page.content, this is editor going to me, page.content, we will get, well, surprisingly enough, the content. So my thing is BeautifulSoup demo.python. So I'm going to go to my terminal. Let's do this. And font's nice and large. Okay, Python 3 and BeautifulSoup demo.py. And there we go. It's dumped a whole pile of content onto my screen, which I can scroll up and take a look, and boy, is it hideous. You tend to find Google has a reputation for nice, clean user interfaces, lots of white space and everything else, but if you look at the code behind the scenes, it can be a disaster. Anyway, so this is the code of this, the HTML code and a whole pile of JavaScript and everything else of this particular page. It's the same thing that I would see if I right-clicked and went to View Page Source. And we wait because it's stinking massive, okay? This is what Google News sends to the Chrome web browser, which gets turned into this. how on earth are we going to make sense of it to pull out the little bits of articles that we want? Okay, so for instance, the easy way of doing this is I am going to copy and paste all of this, copy into a text editor. Come on. Is it doing it? No, it's not. Okay. All right, so there's a whole heap of stuff here. Let's actually make it slightly more readable, and Beautiful Soup has a way that's going to help us out with this, so let's do that. Okay, so let's run our page content through Beautiful Soup. Right, and that's just as easy as saying, okay, create a soup. I don't know where the naming system came from, but anyway, page.content. Okay, so that's this thing here that we're printing out. Take all that hideous mess, put it into Beautiful Soup, and let it know that it is HTML that we're wanting it to pass. So this is just, that's all this is. It's a string that tells Beautiful Soup, this is HTML. And then we can create a more pretty version of the content. So soup.prettyify will make a more pretty version of our content. So let's, rather than printing all that out, let's take a look at this and let's save it to a file because it's still going to be massive, and I'm going to want to open it into a text editor to search for what I'm wanting. So we're going to create a function, save file, and we'll just let's call it output text, and we'll dump the contents of pretty into that. So let's come up, define a function, save file, file name, content. And then we will just open a simple file based upon the name, open up for writing, and we'll use the variable w. So let's write to the file the content and closing. What am I doing? And a closing enter key. Yes. All right. All right. So if I do this and run it, okay. Hopefully this works. And it's taking a little bit of time. There we go. All right. If I come across, I now have this output file, output.txt, which is what I was creating here. So let's open that into my editor that I had. Okay, slightly more readable. There's still a whole pile of rubbish in here, but if we scroll past the rubbish, we'll find bits and pieces that we can at least make out. Now, the trick here is we are simply going to search for what we're wanting. So the news of the hour is Trump pledges to help business phone maker ZTE. So let's come into my editor and go find and okay, Trump pledges, there it is. Trump pledges to help, oops. Trump pledges to help. Let's get the first one. What am I doing? Sorry. Trump pledges. Oh, that's the one where I moved it. Let's just, I should cut this, but anyway. Okay, here we go. Trump pledges, there it is. Trump pledges to help Chinese phone maker get back in business. Right, and we can see here, and this is where you need to know a little bit of HTML ideally. So all of this is what's inside an A tag or an anchor tag as it's known in HTML. And so you kind of needed an eye to know what you're looking for. But I can see one thing in here that I think is is going to be useful is this thing, role equals heading. And I hypothesize, is that something that all the news headings in Google News have in common? Let's scroll down to the next heading, or better way, let's search for role equals heading. All right, what's the next one? Inside information announcement. I'll come back here. Inside information announcement was the next heading. What's the next one after that? Trump vows to save. Trump vows to save, yes. Looks like this role equals heading. All right, we're entitled news about Iran. Trump rolls the globe with Iran deal withdrawal. I'm guessing that's all in here. If I open this up, yeah, there it is. Okay, so role equals heading are the news articles. They're my headlines. So let's come back to my code. What can I do with that? Well, so there's a bunch of different things. Let's print out. First of all, let's print out the page title. All right, so this will just say Google News, but it's just soup.title.string. And then let's find everywhere that this role equals heading thing appears. So it's going to be a list of things because there's a whole bunch of them, and we remember how we iterate through lists along the way of for item in list. Okay, so if I had a list in Python, remember my list equals 1, 2, 3. So just quick refresh on lists. If I did this, right, that will print out 1 and then 2 and then 3 on 3 different things. So item gets everything from the list. Right, soup will give us a list of all of these links. Right, so let's instead of calling them the items, let's call them headlines because that's what they are. So for headline in, and now how do we get the list? We use soup dot find underscore all. Oh, come on, type correctly. Come on. All right, we want to find all the anchor tags. That's why those things were in, and then. So they're all inside these A anchors, and then this thing role equals heading, because there's a whole pile of other A tags that we don't want, especially on websites like Google. There'll be hundreds of them. So I only want the ones where role equals heading. It's as easy as saying role equals heading. And let's just pull out, I only want the first 20, so limit of 20. All right. Now, if I print out the headline and just the string part of the content, what will I get? Let's run down to here, clear the screen. And wait a minute for it to do its thing. There we go. So page title, Google News, which is, all right, if we come here to Chrome, Google News, that's the title of the tab. Fantastic. And then Trump pledges to save Chinese phone maker, inside information, blah, 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 blah. So the first few articles all about that. And then we've got something about a volcano. If we come here, which is this one here. So I'm guessing the order of the news has changed in the last couple of minutes. Yes, the news stories on volcano have jumped up over the Iran ones. All right, and then we've got some suicide bomber and then Iran stories. Okay, so this is looking useful. One little catch with using something like BeautifulSoup, of course, is if ever Google News changes how their website looks and appears, then you've got to go through this all over again and find the new codes that are going to work. So be aware that you are being dependent upon them not changing anything, which Google never stays still for long. Anyway, what if we want the links as well? They could come in useful. So our headline is a Python object that contains all sorts of information we can pull out of it. So let's pull out, instead of string, let's get the href, which is what is inside an anchor tag. It's here, okay. Href equals, that is the website address that links to that news article, in this case on Fox News website. So if I come back and say, let's print these out, save and clear and run. And we wait. Okay, and here we go. Scroll, Google News, Trump pledges, and that's the Washington Post link. Insider information, there's the ZTE link. Trump vows to save, there's the New York Times link. So I could then use these in whatever way I want. I could take these web addresses, stick them into Beautiful Soup themselves, and get the full article if I wanted to. Okay, so that's all nice and good. And I'm pulling out these articles. What if I want to pull out different news stories? Well, if I'm sticking with the same website, hopefully things will stay roughly the same. Now, I'm an Australian, so I'm going to say I want the Australian news. Now, is there an easy way to do this? What happens if I just take this link? I haven't tried this before. Let's just stick this in here. I reckon the rest of the Google site is set up enough, so I can just take that and let's stick it in here, run it, and will I get the Australian news stories? Look at that. That worked really easy. Where are we? Okay, so here's my command. So page title, Australia, Google News. Father of children killed in mass shooting, Margaret River. Yeah, that's some tragic events that have happened in the last few days. Defence Department accused of locking Australian firms out of submarine contract. Well, that doesn't sound good. Bill Shorten rebukes Pauline Hanson over threat to deny Labor preferences. Nice to know politics doesn't change when I'm out of the country. All right, anyway, so there's the Australian news. So that was, because I'm using the same website, all right, I know this stuff is all the same. So I didn't have to change anything else there. What if I want to use a different website? How about the good old ABC, the Australian Broadcasting Organisation? What if I want their news? So let's go to news. Here's their news webpage. Can I use this? All right, how much do I have to change in order to find the information I want? So let's put this website in here, and we'll find that it won't just work straight away. Right. So clear and run it, and that's all I get. I get my page title. And the reason for that is that this has changed, because while Google decided to have a thing called role equals heading, the ABC News website does it differently. They do things their way. So I'm just going to, let's open this. All right, and so this is the ABC News. All right, Australian Broadcasting Commission. Hey. Okay, now, so what is the headline article? How a Father's Heart Break. So let's search for that. How a father, there it is, heartbreak. Now, here's the anchor tag that's got the link. All right, so I could just pull out every anchor tag. Let's get rid of this role equals heading and see what happens. Okay, now I get a whole bunch of other stuff. And so what I'm actually getting are links to these headings before because I've only asked for the first 20, it stops before it actually gets any news articles. So let's get rid of the limit of 20 and pull out every anchor tag. Yep. Okay, and so we'll find here, yeah, so there's a whole bunch of news articles, but there's a whole bunch of things that aren't news articles. And how can I pull out just the ones that are news articles? Gee, there's a lot of news. Okay, here we are, back to our generic headings. All right? I could either count them, but what if they change? You know, it might change around day by day. You don't really know. You're better off trying to find some kind of code in here that you can rely upon. All right? And again, this comes down a little bit to intuition and knowing how HTML works. But let's see what I can find. So there's no special tag inside the anchor that says this is a news article heading. And then if we look at the one before that, it's just a heading 3. Yeah, that's nothing too exciting. The one before that, though, shows promise. Here, doc type article. So does that mean that that is a news article? We can test this theory quite easily. Let's come into my code. All right, so we had to go up to, we're pulling out all the anchor tags, but we had to go up to find this thing. What was it called? Class doc type article. Let's just copy and paste this in here for a second so I can remember it. All right, that's what I'm wanting to find, but I have to go up to. So from the anchor tag, I have to go up to the heading, so to the tag before that, and then to the tag before that, which is the li. Fortunately, there's an easy way of doing that as well. And in BeautifulSoup, it just works like this. So if the headline dot parent will let me go up in the tree. So from A, I'm now at the H3, and if I go up one more, I'm at that li tag. And now if I say, let's get the class, and if that is equal to doc type article, then this might be one of my headings. All right, let's run this. All right, what am I missing here? Parent to parent get class. I know what's going on. This one is, oh, no, because we're not. I know what's going on. I'm trying to find out how to show you what's going on. Fortunately, I remember to do this ahead of time. Why is it not coming up at all? What am I missing here? What am I? Okay, let's just do that. Yeah, okay. So, of course, yeah, no. So what was happening? How about if I print this out? I know how to show you what's going on. Parent, not parent, dot get class. Basically, in HTML, a class can have multiple values. And so this thing, get class, is actually giving us a list. And so here before, when I had this, headline.parent.get class equals, I was asking, what is doc type article? I was saying, does this thing equal this string? And it doesn't. It equals a class. I want to see if it's an item inside a list, because the class thing inside HTML can have more than one value. There can be all sorts of other things in here. Okay, and each of them are treated as separate things by HTML, and I'm wanting to see if one of them happens to be doc type. So there's a couple of ways I could do this. I could make this be a list here, right? But there's a downside to this method as well. Let's see if what it does. Okay, well, it's not going to do anything right now because I haven't indented. Yeah. Okay, so it does work, but there might be a problem because what happens if for some reason the ABC website has got multiple things here? Right? I'm just saying, only showing you the ones where it equals exactly this list. The better way of doing this is saying, okay, knowing that this is a list, I use the in method, just like we use with for loops. Doc type article. Is this a value inside this list? Right. And if I clear and run that, there's my articles. And again, there's a whole pile in here. Now I can't just add limit equals 20 here because this is collecting every anchor tag. Right? And as we saw when we first started, we go through 20 before we even get to the news. So I could try saying 30, and I might get half a dozen news articles, which I do. Or I can simply keep track with a variable. Number shown equals 0. And then every time I print one out, number shown is equal to number shown plus 1. And if number shown is less than 10, let's show some more. And so this will give me exactly 10 articles. There they are. All right. So that has shown you a few different things to use with Beautiful Soup. Now, it's very dependent upon whichever website it is that you are wanting to scrape information off. You have to have a little bit of intuition as to what you're looking for with the HTML. And obviously, if you're one of my students, if you load this up into an editor and get me to do a search, find the text of the first of the things you're looking for, I'm happy to look at the HTML and give you my gut feeling as to what is the bit that you're looking for, that you need to pull out. And then hopefully you can follow through with the rest of what I showed in this video to be able to use that to create this kind of structure that extracts just the bits that you're looking for. Anyway, hope that is useful, and it's gone a bit longer than I had planned, but and it's 20 to midnight, so it's time to go to sleep and teach you all in a few hours' time. But anyway, I am done. This is Mr. Baumgarten signing off. Good night.